Is that like, actually, you're, naming him out of all people. I feel like I'm trying to find something that clicks that I could relate your art with. And I feel like
I
that
love
would
Mike
be the
Mignola.
perfect comparison. Okay, there we
I love
go.
Mike
I could see
Mignola.
that with
Very
some of
cowboy
your
guy.
inking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
your inking kind of reflects that a whole lot.
Yeah, I do more thick and thins, but I use
Mhm.
like Futasanake Tombow brush pens for those bolds. But I love a good tech pen. Like I hope to get to a point where everything I draw is just with a tech pen and a brush. Like I really hope I can. Like I don't mind
Sick.
like the fuss of like thick and thins, but like I don't know. To me, like there's such a craft and mastery with just that one pen line in the
Dude,
brush with blacks.
I
There's
feel
something
you.
beautiful about it and its
Whenever
simplicity.
I've been drawing, yeah, exactly. Whenever I got really into like Lone Wolf and Cub, and
Oh,
once I
dude,
realized that
I
that was,
discovered that my sophomore year of high school.
oh, dude, yeah, and you realize that that's all done with a brush. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just a singular brush. And so now when
Mhm.
I've been doing my inks or anything like that, I'm using one of two pens, and they're both
Yeah.
brush pens. And I can one is a bit thicker and one's a bit thinner, but like I really am trying to get down just to that vibe and that style. I have my
Yeah.
like. I don't know where my other ones, my microns and my whole selection of stuff like
Mhm.
that. But which is cool. I love it. But
Yeah.
narrowing it down just made it simpler for my brain. And I'm just
Mhm.
training myself and my hand to work on those brush strokes.
Yeah. I really think like and like I was talking to Tony McMillan over at IC3 and he's a big
Mhm.
believer in this too, but like we both believe that like limitations breed more creativity where if you
Yep.
regulate yourself to a few things, your brain has to problem solve, okay, I have X amount of pens, I have this paper, I have this story. How do I solve this puzzle? And like to me every story is that puzzle. And I like thinking in those terms and I always try to draw every single page as its own unique design because like
Mhm.
I'm kind of like Mike Mignola in the sense of like I think of not just trying to draw one like sexy panel and then like a few kind of crappy panels. Like I'm trying to
Mhm.
think of like, okay, how do I make this whole page a strong design element that leads you from page to page to page in that one issue? You know, like that's kind of how I approach my design.
That's awesome. We're talking about Tony too, because we just had him on the show. I just
Oh,
finished
he's
interviewing
amazing.
him. It's so great, so much fun. And that we talked about it precisely that was just, oh, yeah, there you go. All of Tony's
Dude,
books are
read this
phenomenal,
for
dude.
read Attaboy first, then I ordered Lumen, and he threw this in the mail for me out of friendship, and he drew a Frankie pinup for me too.
Oh,
So it's gonna be
sick.
an issue
Dude, that's
too.
awesome. Dude,
Yeah,
that's so cool. Dude,
connections have
yeah,
been
it's
great.
yeah, I can't imagine like, for someone who's putting out your books and like doing what you're doing and being involved with Cosmic Lion like so fast and so early, it's just,
Yeah,
almost in probably an overwhelming amount of just like creative input and advice and people to seek out.
yeah,
I mean, there's so many good people. We just had Rick Lopez on the show and we talked to
yeah.
Eli
I
Schwab,
watched, love that
great
interview.
dudes.
Love both
Dude, and they're
those
so
interviews.
great dudes. I
Yeah,
love them to death. Phenomenal, like just humans. And again,
yeah.
like Tony's a dude. I had
So
seen
kind.
Tony's work previously, and when we talked about his inking process and how mistakes
Mhm.
happen and how he flows with that, it's really a true way of just being an artist and just letting
Yeah,
whatever happens on the page just kind of flow
happen.
through and crafting with that.
Yeah, next issue I'm gonna try and put these parallel pens to use because I've had them for a
Oh,
while, and
cool.
he kind of got man like when I started reading his stuff, I was getting an itch. I was like, man, I know I shouldn't ink it like straight with the parallel pen, but I should try at least a few implements with it. But he kind
They're
of put
a lot of fun. When I was first doing my
they're
like
emotional.
experimenting with pens and like figuring out what worked and what I liked and what like, I don't like with thickness and everything, dude,
Yeah,
those flathead ones were just like the funnest thing for me. I just feel like you're kind of chipping away at stuff and just like,
yeah.
I don't know, it's a weird movement, but I could cover more ground with it. If I was going to use anything but a brush, it'd probably be that type of flathead.
I'd like to imagine like Tony is like swinging it like a samurai sword when he's creating stuff. Like I know it's probably not that sexy like in real time, but like I like to imagine that that's what he's doing. Like he's up swinging it with his arm, and it's like a samurai sword. Like I like to think of it like that.
That's it'd be fun to make like a comic about like other comic creators making comics and how you perceive them making comics, and
Yeah,
that would just be a fun
yeah,
like panel to like, bring to life and whatnot.
yeah.